Today I'm going to be reviewing the basic features in Adobe Premiere. We'll be editing some video clips. I'll show you how to set up your files and how to export and any of those fun things along the way. So let's just get started.
I want to discuss how we need to prepare to produce a video file in Photoshop. All of the images that you're using in your Photoshop file exist in that file. And you'll never lose them once they're placed in that file. Premiere, on the other hand, links files to your video document. So we need to make sure that all of our files are in the same place, that the video is always saved with these files, and that you never move any of these files out of their space, because then they will become unlinked from your video file. The screens look really scary. They give you all these error messages. So this way everything is in place. You can choose what to title them yourself. I put my footage, my audio, and assets. I will have my working file in the edit, and I will have my finished file in the output. Again, you can, what you name them is up to you, okay? So first we're gonna have to, you want your footage in your assets folder, so make sure you start that way. And then we'll go into Premiere. We'll go to File, New, Project, and we'll call this Premiere Sample, okay? And we're gonna have this in our edit folder, which it's already set to, right? And you of course browse and find that, right? Okay. And the scratch disks you're all gonna want set to your same as project, so that way you don't unlink anything here, and what have you. So we'll push OK. Okay, great. So you can see here that we have a few panels open in our workspace. And you can see here that there are multiple workspaces available. The learning workspace is going to look very similar to the editing. It'll have some links here for you to learn. And then, of course, this has to do with assembling the video, editing the video, different effects, your audio controls, right? So these are all different panels that will help you specifically for certain modifications to your video. We're going to work in editing, and that's actually the workspace I will always use for the most part. It has essentially access to any of the features I would need to use. The first thing we're going to want to do is import our media into our project panel so that we can view the footage that we have. So we're going to start by importing media, and I just double clicked on this and I will push import, and we will have access to our folder. Okay, and now we have all of the footage here that I have I downloaded. So I want to start here with the with a clip. We'll do this wave. So you can scrub through your clip here with clip with the playback. I think that my playback is a little slow because I'm recording myself, but that's a really nice feature, is to toggle your clip. You can of course also play it up here once you drag it up to your source panel to view it. This is where you will take clips in order to drag them into your timeline, and your program panel will show your playback of your timeline. So we can view our clip here. You can of course push start and stop or the space bar. And I just want to take a portion of this clip and put it into my timeline. You use these markers here to mark in and out, and we can mark in here and scrub a little bit down and mark out. And now we can drag this clip onto our timeline and we can see it here. You could of course take the whole clip without marking it if you wanted to do that, and you're not going to separate your clip out. Okay, so then let's take another clip, and we'll do this one here, this nice overview of water going onto a beach. I'm going to want to take the last portion here where it's starting to crash onto the water, and I want to do it before I see these tents and stuff. So I'm going to mark in and out on this clip. Instead of using these buttons, I'm going to use the hotkeys, which is I for in and O for out. And luckily they're right next to each other on the keyboard, so it's a really convenient hotkey. So I'll probably start maybe around here. Let's see. My playback is, again, a little slow because I'm recording myself. This is pretty good. So we'll start here with our in, and I'll scrub to where I want it to fade out, and we'll push out. And now I can drag and drop this clip to follow the first clip. You can see here that when I can move them around freely with my drag tool, and even though there was a space here, since we have the snap feature on, you will notice that it will snap immediately into the clip before it, so that there is no gap between them. If you do have a gap and you want to remove it, as long as you have this snap feature on, you don't want that toggled off, you can click this empty space here and push delete, and it will snap your clips together. So now we have clips. We have a little less than 15 seconds worth. If you want to zoom in or out, like let's say you're taking a 10-minute video and you want to see more of that space here, you can drag out your timeline or zoom in, of course, if you want to see closer up. You can also make these sliders bigger or smaller, and that can also modify. See, now here we have access to a thumbnail, which can be really convenient if you want to use that way. All right, so now we have multiple video tracks here. If you have audio attached to your footage, it will belong here underneath it. These are silent clips, so there's nothing here, but normally there would be an audio clip stacked underneath it. All right, so essentially that's all you're going to do is you're just going to clip you're going to add all of your clips to your timeline in the way that I showed you, you can see here our lists. We have our video tracks here. We have our audio tracks here. You can, of course, mute your audio tracks. You can toggle the visibility of your video tracks. You can have solo audio, which means just one audio track will be listened to. You can record a voiceover here. If you want to speak over your video, you can record yourself while you speak. All right. And we have a couple tools here. You don't really need to use a lot of these for the project. To go over a few of them, we have our move and selection tool here, right, which of course can move our clips around. We have our razor tool, which can split your clip into parts if you wanted to shorten them. And the pen tool and the type tool we will cover later. So as far as this project goes, this is the basic bare minimum that you would need to make your assignment. Just get your footage into the timeline, arrange it, and export it. For those interested in more, I'm going to show some effects, how to add audio, keyframing, and things like that. That maybe we want to change the orientation of this, this particular clip here. We can do that by working with its effect controls. So we'll clip on the click, we'll go to effect controls, and you can see here that there are different options for positioning, for scale, its rotation, and what have you, right? So if you just use this and slide it around, you can spin your picture, you can scale it up and down, okay, and you can of course move it across your screen. All right, so what I want to do is I'm going to want to, I think, spin this upside down, and maybe we'll do a little zoom in also. I can see my playback here is pretty lagged, and you can see with this red marker here, this red marker means that it needs to be rendered for it to play back well. So I'm just going to really quickly render my files, particularly since I'm recording myself. I want to make sure that we don't miss anything here. So if you go to sequence, render selection, it'll come up with a progress bar and it'll render your videos so that way your clips, I mean, so that way you can play back, hopefully without any lagging, so that's easier to see what we have here. Okay, so let's click on this now and work with how I might affect this. So I actually just want to rotate this the whole way. So I'm just going to rotate this 180. But I also want to zoom in on my picture, right? So now it's upside down and we're going to go into the water here. But let's say I want to zoom in as we start getting closer to the sand, and that's going to be under the scale option here, okay? So what we'll do is we'll go to the beginning of our clip, maybe up to here, and we're going to push this button here to create a keyframe. Now, keyframing can help you program effects over time, right? So we'll click this and it will make a keyframe. That's what this is representing here. And then we'll drag to the end of our clip here and we'll zoom in, maybe to there. All right, and you can see how it has this effect in scale over time, and as we toggle back and forth, this will, if playback works, zoom in as it moves forward. All right, so that's a simple effect here for zooming in and zooming out. You can, of course, do the same thing with your position and what have you. All right. Let's say we want to make a color effect. Let's make our clip black and white. We can do that here in the effects panel. There's just lists and lists of different effects you can have here. If you're ever looking for a certain effect, you know what it's called, I would just Google it and see what you can find. We're looking for a video effect here, and as you can see, there's just so many options for stylizing, adding noise, distortion, color, and what have you. The black and white is an image control folder, so we will just select this and drag and drop it onto our clip. And now we have this black and white effect on our video. You can always toggle it off simply by pushing this FX button, and it will remove that effect if you ever want to kind of go back a little bit. You can also reset. You know, we made changes here to this clip. You can always reset by pushing this reset button, and it will put everything back. Okay. Sorry, my cat's in the way. Okay. That would be black and white, and like I said, there are just endless choices for the effects you might want to use. You can have as much fun with that as you want. Okay. You can also, of course, create, one of the cool things about this kind of an effect is that you can create just a space for your effect to be in. So, you know, I'll just use a simple space here with the circle, right? And we can maybe stretch it across this whole clip like that, because this is going to look great. And we'll turn that on, and now you can see that that portion of the video will be black and white. Maybe we won't want to do this for the entire video. We'll just want to do it for, I don't know, we'll fade it in or something. Again, just like keyframing, we'll keyframe our mask opacity, right? So we'll start in the front. Let's bring this down to 0 and go ahead and make a keyframe here. And I'll drag it to the end of our clip here. We can drag it up to 100. And we will have, you can see our 2 keyframes here. And now as we play our video, the center of it will start turning black and white. It will lose its saturation. You can see the edges there. Okay. So if you like that, you can do that. Okay. So that's pretty cool. You can kind of almost mask out a certain spot. The pen will let you draw your shape yourself. Okay. Just like in Photoshop, you don't have to directly edit your video clip. You can add an adjustment layer, which of course you can toggle on and off if you want to remove it. So let's say instead of making the video directly black and white, we'll want to add an adjustment layer. Okay, so we can do this by going to File. Oh wait, excuse me. Go to our project. Okay, and I will right click, new item, adjustment layer. We'll push OK, and now we have a blank adjustment layer file here. So if we just move these down a little bit, we can just simply drag and drop that adjustment layer, which right now has no adjustment modification on it, over our clips. The reason this is so convenient is because we can essentially make a modification with our adjustment layer, and we can drag it out across our whole image. So instead of individually modifying each clip to be black and white, we can just modify to make the whole video black and white with an adjustment layer. And of course, it's never a permanent change to your video. So you can do that simply by, right, we have our effects here that are already with video, and if you want to add a black and white effect to it, you simply drag and drop it just like any other clip. We'll see our black and white effect here, right, and we can see that now all of our clips are black and white. Okay? Great. So, the great thing about adjustment layers, of course, that can be shared over clips, and it's really useful when you're trying to put multiple effects on multiple clips to have a start and stop at the same time. Okay, so you may notice that there is a pop-up here every so often. Premiere auto-saves every few minutes, which is really great in case you're not actively saving your file. You will, if you set up your files similar to me, you will see that there is an auto-save in your edits folder already available to you, which is a really great aspect of Adobe, their auto-saves. We have our little floating text here. You can also add video transitions, and that will also be in effects here. We have, let's say I want to cross dissolve between those two video files. We can go to video transitions, we'll go to dissolve, we'll do cross dissolve, and if you drag it between those two clips, you can see that weird like green color, and now we would have a cross dissolve between those two clips. Let's see if the playback will let us do that. Okay, so it's slow, but a cross dissolve can be a really great way to not just jump right to your next frame, right, where you can just dissolve into the next one. You can, of course, make the length of this smaller and bigger, same way you would make your clip smaller and bigger, which is really, really convenient. Okay, and let's say you want to have a more traditional title than how we had that. You can do that by going to File, New, Legacy Title, and you can push OK. It's going to make it the same dimensions as our video. And now you can write whatever you may want to write on your text here. And you can see here there are many, many options for the typeface available and styles available. These are all presets, and of course you can change them with these other settings here on the right if you want to control how big they are, their colors, and what have you. I'm just going to pick a preset, maybe something with a little bit of a slant so it has motion. I don't really like that outline. That's better. Okay, and when you're done, you just close it. And now we will have our title in our file. Great. In our assets, I mean, so we can just simply drag and drop, and now we have this awesome title that will play in our clip. Okay, and you drag and drop it just like any other track, and of course you can modify it just like you would any other tracks if you want to move it or scale it. All right. You can also do the same thing in Photoshop. This is kind of an introduction to motion graphics, where you can put a Photoshop file into our video and modify it with the ways that we've gone over so far. So let's just do that. So that'll be File, New, Photoshop file. And we're going to make the dimensions the same as our video. That's what we want. We'll push OK. We're going to want to save it in our Assets folder. Replace. Okay. And now we have this blank canvas here where we can make a shape. So let's make maybe a little fish. So I'll just draw a quick silly little fish. And we'll just make our little blue friend here. Okay, we'll give him some spikes. So you can essentially draw whatever you want here. If you want to include something in your video here. We'll give him maybe a little mouth. That's a silly one. All right, let's try again. All right, so now our fish has little lips. Maybe I'll give him a giant eyeball. And all right. So now we have a little fish, and you can make this as ever detailed as you want or not. All you have to do is push Control Save, and now that will be available to you in Premiere. And I believe that is what this is right here. So there's our little guy. And just like any of your other clips or files, you're going to just drag and drop. And now if we scrub over to here, we should be able to see our little fishy friend. So you can affect him just the same way that you would affect any other clip here. So let's do that. I'm going to select it. Let's scale it down. Let's make it a little tinier. All right, and maybe I want him swimming from left to right, maybe in this clip here. So I'll scrub to here. Let's line it up with that. Okay, and we'll position him all the way over. Okay, push our stop button here to make a keyframe. I'll toggle to the end of our clip. And I'm going to move this little guy across the screen. And now we have our two keyframes, and you can see that our little friend will be swimming across as we play our video. I'm going to render these again because it's just killing me how long these are, how glitchy the playback is. It's terrible. Okay, so really great aspect here. That's essentially basic motion graphics when you have that kind of a file here animated across our screen. Okay, what else can we do here? We can let's say that we want to have another video here. Let's drag him up there. Let's drag him up here. Okay. And let's say that we want to have two videos here side by side. We can do that by working with scale and with position. So let's select another clip here that we can place in our file here. We'll just pick this one, I suppose. All right, and I'll just add it on top here, and now we have this water. And we'll shorten it to match the clip length of our second video. Okay, so let's start by clicking this, and we'll go to our edit effect controls, and we'll scale it down. Let's look at it. Okay, and I'll scale it down to about 50%, and I'll do the same thing for this video also. So, oh, I forgot I did it on this, that effect. All right, let's do it over here. Okay, so now we'll make this one also smaller. Okay, and now we should be able to move our videos around with this slider so that we could see both at the same time. So now maybe you'd want to make it a little bigger now, have a little more overlap. You can, of course, do that as you see fit. Okay. Of course, just like with layers in Photoshop, the one on top is going to be the one that is, the layer on top will be the one that is on top of the screen, right? We have our overlap here. Okay, I think that's almost it. The last thing I want to do is review getting audio tracks, some audio samples for free on YouTube Audio Library. It has, of course, different licensing types, and it'll tell you exactly right here. You're free to use this video track in any of you're free to use this audio track in any of your videos, including anything you may make money with without attribution. So these are, it's really nice material for content creators or creators, period, to have access to these soundtracks. So maybe we want to hear, you know, you can see here it's, you can have it listed by mood, by genre, artist, how long it is, you know, and you can do, of course, search for that too. So let's see here. I want something happy. I don't think that goes. Let's see this. Ooh. All right, it's kind of slick for a water video, right? Sounds like a commercial or something. So we'll download this, all right? And then we're going to open this in Premiere. So make sure that you drag and drop this file into your assets folder. All right, so that should be here in my assets folder now. So all I'm going to do is drag and drop this file into an audio track. We can see here that it's longer than my video, so I'm just going to use the razor to cut it and delete the portion we will not need. And now we will have audio over our video. I think it's a little loud. You can see here in the audio levels, it's starting to spike into red. We don't really want that. That's too loud. So I'm going to zoom into my audio file here a little bit. And now you can see this bar here. This is the levels bar. And you can control how loud your audio is by dragging this up or down. So I'll just drag this down a little bit, and I think that that's a little better. Okay, so let's say we want to fade in and out with our audio. This is a really great feature for the pen tool. I'm going to simply select it, make 2 points in the beginning and 2 points in the end of our clip. And now you can drag these points down to fade in and fade out your audio. Maybe you'd want a little more of a fade and a little more of a fade. So now it should fade in. And I think I actually want this to be just a touch louder. Nice. Okay, and that's about it. Have to export our file here, and you can do that simply by doing File, Export Media, and a pop-up should come up. Okay. And you can see here, you can make the format. Essentially, there are many options here. I do want to keep it as an H.264 file. You can, of course, change the output, right, to whatever you want to do it. I'm going to put it in my output folder, and I'm just going to call it Final Sample. And then you would, of course, export your file. It might take some time to render, so I'm not going to do this.
Okay, so that about covers everything. If you have any questions, as always, please feel free to email me. And be sure to check out the other links I have that show you little tips and bits of knowledge about Adobe Premiere. Until next time.